Alright, so don't mind the fact that I haven't uploaded within the last month, but I thought I would go ahead and at the very least put in my piece as to why I'm half sad but also half not that Destiny is going to maintenance mode again, or well, Destiny 2 at least. But I will tell you at least the main reasons why I'm sad. It's because I'm sure you may or may not have seen on Twitter, considering I've kind of waited a little bit for this to all sort of unfold, and the more and more it has, the more and more depressing it's getting, to the fact that we could have had a Zivu Wrath campaign, which I would have absolutely paid for, that surprisingly got pitched multiple times during Final Shape's run, and clearly we did not do that. We ended up deciding to go to a completely different area and end off on a Star Wars collaboration that, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's bad, but at the same time, why is this even in the game if we could have done all the other things first? We could have done other things before what we currently have as our last technical year of DLC. But I will tell you, when I heard that news the day before I went to go to work, the entire weekend, and seeing more and more of the news unfolding just got so depressing. It was just sad. More and more things came out from seeing that message that Bungie had left, to everyone else reacting to it, to seeing Datto super, super sad, and understandably so, considering he's been the Destiny guy for over a decade at this point. And to see his basically his whole host of what he does, considering now he's gone to more diversified with his content, which I definitely am very glad he's started doing. But at the same time, it's also sad because a lot of the people who have looked at his stuff are from Destiny and not really anywhere else. But at the same time, there's people that have come from Destiny and have stayed for his content. I wasn't one of those, but at the same time, I'm just, you know, sad seeing that's what happened, but at least he's, so far from what I've seen, has done fine. Same thing with some of the other creators. They've gone and diversified a little bit. But considering how much of everything that's been going on with the game, so many, for one, broken promises that they've kept giving, two, the things that we've told them, hey, don't put in the game, they put it in anyways, and then everyone gives them backlash that they put this in the game. Oh, sorry guys, we're gonna go ahead and take that back out. You can give us trust again. Like, what does what's the point in doing all of this? Especially where we have asked for Sparrow Racingly in Destiny 2 since the vanilla launch. It has been, I think, only one time that I have ever seen Sparrow Racing in Destiny 2, and that was during the vanilla launch of the game. And ever since then, as far as I could tell, I didn't get to play as much Destiny 2 because once, in vanilla, you kind of got all the guns. You got all the guns. Same thing in Curse of Osiris and Warmind. Those were all static roles, so there was nothing to do aside from complete the campaign, probably do the raid. I didn't even get to do Eater of Worlds or Spire of Stars. I did Leviathan, I think, like one or two times, and that was it. And then it was just considering how so badly the launch went. Same deal with stuff in D1, except I think I was more invested through D1 up through Rise of Iron, even. I didn't get as into it in the beginning. I did get the chance to try the beta, but the problem was my internet speeds were horrendous back in the day. So I never got to play the beta, let alone the alpha to begin with. I wasn't invited to the alpha, but having the open beta, I would have been able to play it on my 360 at the time, but because my internet speed again was so atrociously bad, I never got to play the beta. So sadly, I wanted to be one of the few OGs that have tried it back in the day, but I didn't really get it until I started playing Destiny 1 Vanilla a little bit. It was very fun, but I didn't really know anyone and I only had an Xbox 360 at the time. So I didn't really get to do anything with next gen console stuff, but I have to remember later on during D1, I definitely remembered getting a PlayStation 4. I think it was after the Taken King release because I did play some on Xbox One as well. So I think it was like from Xbox 360, I got the Xbox One, played Xbox One version of Destiny 1, and then I ended up getting the PlayStation 4 at some point around there, and I just played that more. And then since then, I did Destiny 1 mainly on PlayStation 4, which of course had all the exclusives in it. So I did that, played that. It was fun. I loved playing King's Fall in there as well. Some of the greater moments, and especially playing with one of my high school friends as well at the time, and one of the ones that I have told stories about as well, and had quite a few other people playing that. I've had so many memories through D1 and especially through D2. Even during the launch of D2, when we were doing the Leviathan raid, we didn't really get to complete it, but it was fun just going around and just trying to explore where we needed to go and which places we were trying to get to. But at the same time, we were in college and we just did our own sort of things, and I was, living away from my hometown, so I didn't really get to hang out as much over there either. And of course, it was going on with a whole unraveling of some other story, but again, that's besides the point. But it was fun. Even Rise of Iron was really, really fun. Didn't really do Wrath that much. I only did like the very end of it once, but I did get to play a bit of Rise of Iron and it was fun. And I was glad I was able to at least complete Rise of Iron's raid as well. But aside from that, I mean, I only did phase 2. Never ended up doing the entire raid itself. I wouldn't mind. I would have to absolutely pull out the PlayStation 4 again, but I also want to do something with the one I have, so if somehow I would want to play Rise of Iron again, I would have to find another PlayStation 4 to play it on. But otherwise, like, it was pretty fun. I didn't have as much in Rise of Iron, but it was definitely a lot of good quality of life changes before Destiny 2. But that's the old portion. I'm gonna go into Destiny 2, where I didn't play it as much as I did with D1, at least not starting until Shadowkeep, kind of, I would say. It's more of like the end of Shadowkeep's life cycle, but it was in and out with Destiny 2 for me, but I still had memories on it, considering playing Vanilla didn't really get too crazy, but I still did a little bit of the events that happened in the game. Faction wars, of course, the one Sparrow Racing event that had happened, even heck, even a couple of those Valentine's events too, but I didn't get anywhere near as far as anyone else had. And then, of course, within the next year, they had the same thing, but didn't really have as much. I didn't play much Curse of Osiris, or I think at all, actually, knowing that it was already in a downward slope. Warmind, I didn't really play either. Again, I was more focused with college, so I never really got anywhere with it. And then, funny enough, I don't know for anyone who has, you know, seen those Forsaken trailers for Destiny. I was one of the ones that got so mad that they went ahead and killed Cade. I did not play that year. I was like, okay, it was pretty cool, going through Warmind maybe a little bit. I didn't get anywhere crazy. But by the time Forsaken came out, it gave me an absolute opposite reaction of me just, no, this is just too dumb. This was the stupidest idea. Of course, people still went and bought it. I mean, again, you can argue because everyone's gone through it and everyone loved it. I'm not gonna say I can't say anything bad about it because I played Forsaken during Shadowkeep when, of course, there was the whole content drought. I still got to play a little bit and I still actually got to go through the whole campaign itself and had pretty much been able to do most of what it had to offer as well. So that one was, I can at least say, I definitely see the campaign and even the raids and everything being really good. I just never played during the release of it or anywhere throughout the year. But all of its stuff, I was completely upset too that it got removed because I'm trying to remember. I think it was one of my friends that ended up gifting me Forsaken as well. And I was like, oh shit. And now I was able to play, the content with him because that was like nearly half the content in the game by that point. So it was insane. Like all half of that content that had been blocked out for me had become pretty much available. And then going into at the very least Shadowkeep, where I completely misunderstood how the season pass worked, was also insane. So I didn't end up I did Season of Undying. That one was, like everyone had said, mediocre, but I kind of liked it simply because I couldn't find anybody to rate. I was coming back into the game with the people that I used to play with gone. Like they were all pretty much out of the game at this point. So I had basically started back from square one trying to find people to hang out and play with, but I ended up at certain points finding videos of people talking about LFGs. You can go into different discords and everything and finding ways to look for a group, of course, that being what LFG would stand for. And there have been quite a few that have been amazing and others very weird. But aside from that, I did not get to play Garden of Salvation as well throughout then because again, I was starting from scratch. Season of Dawn, I did not realize that I didn't have the season pass for and I thought I was able to get stuff out of it, so I was like, okay, I'm dropping the game again because it's the current stuff. What am I gonna do? I can't play previous season's content because at the time, once the content in that season was done, it was taken out of the game for something else. Until everyone was like, okay, well, we can go ahead and just tell them, hey, we want content to stay in the game. And of course, by Beyond Light, that was when that happened. Throughout the year, you were able to go back to different seasons and play them if, you had gotten like the season stuff for them. Cool. But the thing is, I was already invested, and a lot of other players, I'm pretty sure, were already invested. So why would they go back to play old content when it's just already completely outdone? But again, besides the point. Didn't really get to do too much in Dawn, didn't get to do anything in Worthy, and apparently with that also had the weird issues of quests not working, apparently. Cue the sweatsicle clip. But aside from that, like, it was only getting more and more issues, but it was still, the day one launch experience for the different DLCs, I'll just condense down, was very fun. Been able to get in pretty quickly for the most part. It of course takes some time too, but when you got in, you got in and it was insane. And by the time it hit around Season of Arrivals, where that content drought was going on, but things were still kind of sort of happening. We were just getting droplets of news of Beyond Light and everything until the actual release. It was probably one of the more hyped moments, even though it still sucked that we knew that the content vault was a thing. And that doesn't, give any less, sort of scrutiny for it because we could have still had it, but I'll likely just speed run through a bit of the memories and then go into, all the things that we were lied about from the game. And the thing is, it's not the developer's fault. It really is not. They tried, but I was just so upset by that point. But speedrunning Season of Arrivals was when I got back into the game and the story actually, in some retrospect, got interesting for me. That I went ahead and just played throughout all of that and did, the weekly cadence and everything. It was still a little bit of a slog, but at least I had content from back in the day that I hadn't gotten to complete. I was able to go back and play before Beyond Light came out. So I got to go back into the Leviathan and get some Leviathan gear and get, all the randomized gear too from those raids. So I still have like the Season of Arrivals like helmet version from like Leviathan or Eater of Worlds, Spire of Stars, Crown of Sorrow as well. Even Scourge a little bit. Got to play that. That was also fun. And just going and finding different groups was great. I did end up finding one group that I pretty much since I don't know if this was during Beyond Light or if this was beforehand, but I met my group I would say was around it was definitely around Beyond Light. But we ended up doing a lot of different stuff in there, played, Deep Stone Crypt. We also went ahead and did Vault of Glass as well. Some of us we got to be able to even do some of the day one stuff, and then sometimes, things got a little crazy. I did not like the what was it? I did not like Vow's day one. But at the same time, I mean, it was all part of the fun. We did the day one, but we didn't really get anywhere. And it was a little disheartening, I'll be real, doing day ones because you had to be at the top of your game. You couldn't do, all this stuff. And that's why I was like, okay, let's, find a way to get better. And of course, got better we did. And I did end up doing, I think it was a little bit of King's Fall. Of course, we got up to totems, I think, and then we just stopped. But that was also a video I had on there. Uh, Vow, I know I didn't have anything on there. And then Lightfall had the whole completion done. But considering that was the easiest raid, a lot of people don't like to count that day one because of how insanely easy it was. I don't blame them, but at the same time, that was like probably one of the only times anyone would, be able to fully get a contest clear of a raid. And funny enough, I got to do some of those with my brother as well when he played, and got to do it with some of my other IRL friends as well when we went and played Lightfall. That one was pretty memorable as well. Same deal with just going through and playing some of the different story beats, although not as memorable. It was still nice to be able to hop on with some of the boys during day ones of drops and just play the game and be able to experience some of the story, even going through week by week as well. That was like the things we absolutely were crazy about. Loved to see the progression of the game. And by that point, of course, it had its ups and downs, but it was still at least memorable. We were able to do all these things. It was just with a lot of the stuff that we really wanted over the years, we never truly got until like maybe the year following, or maybe if you're lucky, 6 months into the next couple of seasonal drops. But now, of course, Final Shape and beyond. Final Shape was also a really good one and was also definitely one of the things to that the game should have ended off on. Let's say that. It should just have ended off on Final Shape and then go into D3, but again, they tried it. It didn't work either, which is why the whole Edge of Fate and Shattered Cycle type of stuff still went on and was not well received. And not well received is completely understandable here because I did not do anything else with it. I kind of played into Edge of Fate, but that was mainly the first mission and then doing the portal. And that was soulless as all hell. And I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And ever since like September last year, I have not touched the game. Literally a whole year later, or about 10 months ish, I have stopped playing the game. But I really loved the game, the way it was going after Final Shape. I just felt they had no idea what they were doing and just greenlit whatever they thought they could greenlight. I was just not a fan of it. Star Wars, I will say, looked pretty cool, especially in concept, but having two different intertwining stories like that to me is just going to be really weird because then you have Destiny content being canon in Star Wars and Star Wars content being canon within Destiny, and both of those universes are kind of weird because you're doing Star Wars Destiny content in the solar system, but then in Star Wars you're having very weird things going on there that you're having whatever the story was shouldn't have been starting in our solar system is all I gotta say for Star Wars. Star Wars was a whole you're out there in like a whole bunch of different planets that were not, you know, in our solar system. I don't know. I was pretty sure that it was all outside of it in a galaxy far, far away. The galaxy not so far away where we currently live at and reside in doesn't make sense to me. But then again, I never played it. I only ever did the starter campaign for Edge of Fate, and I was just not bought into it. I will be honest. They could have done more with the 9 beforehand, but I guess they were wanting to do it now and then get that out of the way. I don't know. I can't tell you what was going on, but it was just setback after setback and things that we wanted in the game for so long taking forever, or the things that Bungie should have done didn't really get pushed through until now, where they're finally going to leave the game in a decent enough state to where you can still get whatever and still feel rewarded, while also knowing the fact that you're not getting another game or getting another seasonal expansion or another like seasonal update or anything like that. It's just what's the point in playing now when the executives just decided, all right, we're killing the story for Destiny and our lifeline just for Marathon. Like, what's going on in Marathon? Why do I need to stop my investment in one game that had so much potential to begin with that the other one that requires you to be in a PvP setting require my attention? Most people now are not super crazy into PvP. There's definitely plenty of people who starve for PvP and go hungry and want to play a bunch of other PvP stuff. I'm not saying there's no audience for it. I'm just saying why put a story-based thing in a PvP setting that requires people to be cooperative when people are trying to extract for loot. If it was a single quest line that was based on how far you went, sure. And then on top of having a season pass in Marathon, it's got its whole ups and downs, but getting back to Destiny, they shouldn't have killed Destiny for it, but I'm not Bungie's executives, I'm not Sony executives. I can't change that decision. I did lose sleep that day seeing that news happen as well and just kept looking for more information, and the more information that came out, the much more depressing it got. So, besides that point, I was just, I don't know, I didn't think I could be so sad with a game I was like not necessarily off and on with, but I had so much investment nearing the end of it that by that point it was, you know, it's just sad seeing it what it was in the state that it was in, and it just kept deteriorating more and more, and people will go, oh, it's, this or that, and I will say political climate is part of it, but also besides the point, the way things were just infiltrated, people in there were some that really tried, and definitely the developers deserve more of not just sympathy, but for them actually trying to pitch things to the higher ups only to get rejected by those that never really cared for the game and only saw better short-term profits and not long-term survivability of the game, only to then go, okay, we're cutting our one lifeline completely off for a game that hasn't even been out for 3 months, and they're already going to try and reel players in with a PvE mode that, you know, could have at least split the base in between so that you had players who Wanted to try Marathon because Destiny, sure, was still active. Now that it's not, there's no point in playing Marathon. Why would I go and take my precious time and energy into Marathon if, for one, I'm not already crazy on extraction shooters, but I have played Tarkov and I played PvE. It took them forever to do. But I think having that is probably by far the better choice for anyone who wants to try and get into like extraction shooters and all this other stuff. You can go and buy Escape from Tarkov. Tarkov has its own issues. I will just say that right now. It has its own issues, its own faults, and everything in between. But I would say, considering they've built upon it more and more, and they were in the space probably one of, if not the longest out of all of those, they'd probably have a better grasp at what's going on. But Bungie's chasing the trend of extraction shooters, and why would I go and do microtransactions when Escape from Tarkov, all this stuff you can get is completely in game, by the way. Sure, you can buy different sort of packs to be able to get your loadouts and everything, just your entire vault space in there completely maxed out and everything. But that's the only real transactions that are in the game. And that's it. Not really, buying like charms or buying anything with microtransactions in the store, only for them to be gone in 6 months. So everything that you paid for essentially is just completely wiped. You're not getting, I don't know. I haven't touched anything on Marathon, but that's like as much as I have seen is that you're buying into a season pass or even buying anything in like microtransactions only for the weapon that you probably have to just disappear anyways whenever you get killed in a firefight or something and you lose that weapon and that charm and everything about it is just gone. You're just gonna make me waste money on something that I'm gonna have gear fear about. And a lot of other people probably have gear fear, or at the very least, people will not have it. They'll go through and do it anyways, only for them to eventually get completely destroyed by cheaters or by people who know how to exploit the game. Which, considering Destiny has already had its own slew of problems with cheaters, nothing changed in Marathon. It's the same engine, same anti-cheat, same issues. So, at this point, I'm just sad at the state that Bungie is in. I feel bad for the developers, but the executives are just retarded. I will say it right there. That is my 2 cents on it. I'm just already, for one, frustrated, angry, and just flat out upset and tired. I'll definitely still play. I'm gonna be surprised if anyone's made it this far, but I'll still play on June 9th. I'm still gonna go and play one last time with the boys and anyone who's hopping on. I'll probably likely live stream it as well. That'll be probably one of my last Destiny live streams since I'm pretty sure it was Final Shape. I live streamed that a bit, and it was interesting because I got in there first, or one of the few people that got in there first. I don't think I really immediately streamed to the beginning, but it was definitely amazing to be able to get in and do that, and it's going to be amazing to see one last time the amount of players that are just going to completely join in and say their final goodbyes, and this is also likely my one of my many final goodbyes to the game. I'll still probably come back every so often, but Who knows what's going to happen in a year or two? Who knows if the servers are going to be down within the next year? Who knows? Because you'll never likely be able to play Destiny 1 again. You'll likely never be able to play Destiny 2 again. And for those who already have Marathon and put $50, $60 or more into it, Marathon's going to die. And then that's going to get shut down too. So basically, whatever you decided to put in there is going to be gone as well. And one more thing about seeing a petition for Destiny 3, I'm not signing the petition. I've already been thrown broken promises and the amount of stuff that they were supposed to do and didn't do, or anything else. Sure, you can give another company, because Sony technically has the rights to Destiny now and could be completely out of Bungie's hands. I'm still not going to trust really any other studios out of Sony's branches to make Destiny 3, or even if you want Bungie to create Destiny 3 anyways, why am I going to go and do that again if there's broken promises? Sure, I'll likely be a sucker for a Xivu Wrath campaign that they completely shut down like dozens of times, only for them to finally get their head out of their ass and actually do it. But at this point, I just don't have trust in the IP anymore because, again, you've seen how much broken promises have been happening. I've discussed it in the video as well. I don't have any of the places, but there's plenty of people that have probably later on will get a bigger picture and likely do a better job at explaining all of these things and getting all these pictures and just doing that. But I just thought I'd at least just share my thoughts, really, on all of it. I'm not really doing any editing or anything crazy. This is going to be one long take, and that'll be it. I'm just exhausted. I'm tired of having to see this franchise, be completely tortured to death because I love this IP, but it's been completely tortured and brutalized, and then we're given things that we were promised years ago, and especially the very end where we've got things that we have been asking for probably years to over a decade ago, that we should have had a while ago, things that we should have been getting in the first place, and things that should have stayed in the game anyways. It's just depressing because there's nothing else to look forward to. We don't have Shattered Cycle to finish out a campaign, at least on. We don't have a Xivu a Wrath campaign and Raid as well that we could look forward to. We don't have anything about whatever other things that have been going on outside of the lore that, was mainly thrown in. There's nothing to look forward to. It's not a monument of triumph, it's a monument of disaster. A brutal death of an IP that should have been handled more properly than what it currently has over the course of an entire decade, almost a decade and a half at this point. It's just depressing. I'm not signing the petition because I don't have any trust in the IP anymore. It's completely destroyed a lot of that in between. I loved the game. I really, really do want the cope. And a lot of people absolutely give me flack on this, but I just can't support this entire thing anymore. I'm sure someone's probably gonna completely and overtake the power vacuum, probably not do it as correctly, considering a lot of games have tried, and of course Destiny was the top dog, and now the top dog basically toppled itself over. So we're going to be getting a whole bunch more of Destiny likes until something gets it right at this point. Either that or Destiny 3 comes back and somehow it's way better than ever. That'll just be a hypothetical somehow. But I don't know. I just don't see it happening. I'm just going to see a third time of the exact same type of stuff that has already been having issues the first two games ago. Why would I think differently that a third game is going to do the exact same thing? I understand. I really want the copium. I'm really, again, I love the franchise, but I can't keep supporting this if it's just going to be butchered and destroyed and do whatever else. It, I just don't see it. It's not worth it. That's all I'll say. And again, your heart's in the right place for wanting to see more of Destiny. I do too, but considering that you may or may not have seen, of course, the amount of issues that the games have had and all the other things that have gone on, it's just insane that, you know, people still love the game at the end of the day, and I still love the game at the end of the day, but there's, I don't know, there's not much left for me to really say other than this is just extremely depressing and by far the saddest and worst way to handle an IP. Only for them to just completely gut it out as if they were a new studio or a studio that could handle that sort of thing, which at this point, it just can't. And I'm not going to be sad when Bungie just dissolves completely. That's just, again, my 2 cents. I'm just tired. And sadly, there's no real conclusion, but at the very least, we finally can say that the game, in a sense, is being put to rest. Probably one last time, or who knows, people will probably go 5 years from now and do something different with the game. But I don't know. It's just sad. Sad the way it even had to happen. But other than that, my true review of the game, new players should just stay away entirely. It's not really worth it, especially in D2. D1, I would tell you go for it because it has the content. You are able to play from beginning to end without any, hiccups or anything weird happening in the story. Destiny 2, the beginning of the story is gone, basically. The first two major types of expansions are just gone. The seasons in between are completely gone, so you're just going from campaign to campaign to campaign, and you're not even doing anything in the middle. You're not even going to do, like, Season of Undying stuff. You're not doing anything with that. You're not doing Season of Dawn. You're not doing Season of Chosen stuff. You're not doing any of that. You're just going from campaign to campaign to campaign, and you're just going to be even more confused. And if you're having a friend who's just super confused, you're going to have to pull up a lore video from a season that was like 3 years old just to have people look at a video of people playing the campaign that they could have taken the experience in. And there's just no matching it anymore. There's no getting that back. because all of that is gone now. You can't play in between seasonal content. You can only play the content that's currently in the game and is a lot less there than how the other half of the game already had a decent story to start off with to be able to get new players into the story. But instead, we have a timeline and YouTube videos and Bife lore videos. I don't know. That's probably enough. I likely should stop talking the rest of it. It's This is just depressing. That's all I've got to say. But if you somehow manage to listen to every last little bit of what I said, thank you for somehow even listening to all of this. I just needed to get this out at this point, considering I've put Destiny content as well in my videos and I've even streamed it from time to time. I thought I'd at least give my 2 cents on what's going on and at least have some of it settle a little bit. I haven't seen anything else since the layoffs and about the other content that had been basically completely cut from the game, and people talking about the things that we, again, had been asking and begging for that the devs tried to do, and it never happened. But yeah, that's about as much as where I'm at on all of this. I've seen everyone's reaction to all of it, and I've seen even more of a reaction of people being sad that there's no new Destiny game or anything. It's all going to Marathon, which, funny enough, a lot of people will blame Marathon. I have a little bit of angst against Marathon, but I don't think Marathon was the full reason. Not just Marathon, it's been leadership, it's been multiple issues countless times. They've already had, all their own controversies as well going on for the last however many years. Like, they've already had the content vault, they've had stolen artwork for the last 5 years at this point that people have seen their artwork in. I don't think people have mentioned about Rise of Iron's stolen music. Essentially, someone did a Sepix Prime track, and it got officially put into Destiny 2, Rise of Iron, but I don't think I heard anything about the issue with that. I don't know if they were happy or if they got any royalties or if they got anything out of it, because people put effort into that stuff, and Bungie just flat out grabbed it for Rise. Well, it wasn't really Bungie; it was whoever was, the under studio that did Rise of Iron, because apparently Bungie didn't do it, and that's of course why Bungie went ahead and completely just say, "Oh, well, we like, Rise of Iron, but we're gonna pretend it doesn't exist in the story." I don't know. I It's been all over the place. I'm just as all over the place about it, but again, that's just how I'm feeling is I'm all over the place. I'm just everywhere, scattered. But yeah, don't worry for anyone who's been subscribed already, and for those of you who are new, I do a bunch of other random stuff. I've been, again, super busy considering I haven't uploaded in the past couple of months and I haven't been doing anything else in terms of what I've been wanting to talk about. But I think for now, I'll likely keep low for a little bit and continue doing a few things. I've been pretty much working on a lot of stuff, and I think for anyone who is a Destiny fan, I think will probably be very much wanting to keep their ears open on what I have going on. But if you don't like Team Fortress 2, that's going to be really one thing that is, something you'll have to keep in mind as well. I don't know if anyone in Destiny has played Team Fortress 2, but considering that game has V scripting and you're able to do a whole bunch of map work, uh, you'll definitely see later, and I'm surprised people have done nothing with that sooner. So aside from that, I'll just leave it off on that. For anyone who's watched my videos with Team Fortress 2 stuff, they'll probably be interested. I'm hoping I get Destiny fans interested as well, but again, that's gonna be a little bit later on. I'm probably gonna show maybe a map that I've been working on, and then I'm gonna make probably a sneak preview of something else that I think, again, Destiny fans have been wanting since the re-release of the raids. That's all I'll say on it. But aside from that, thank you all so much for somehow listening to my rambling to the very end somehow. And yeah, if you're interested in that, just keep your ears open. I'm probably just gonna shadow drop it most likely. So anyone who's probably keeping an eye or probably wants to look at that, I mean, go for it. By all means, keep your ears on it. I will make sure to throw something up. I'm not good with trailers or anything like that, but I'll probably at the very least find something that I'll be able to do to get it, you know, all good to go. But yeah, uh, gonna go ahead and go dark again. But if anything, you'll likely see me on June 9th. I might stream as well. So for anyone who may or may not, you know, want to come by and say what's up one last time, or heck, hopefully be able to meet some of the big guys on Destiny one last time, because I think I've met a few people, but I haven't gotten to actually like chat. But I would definitely be happy to do a lot of stuff one last time in the game, and I'll be off for the couple of days that I'm actually, able to take one last leap back into the game, one last, farewell journey to the game and to all the players that are playing. And yeah, that'll definitely be the last bit. But after that, I'll be working on pretty much what I've got coming up. So anyone who's already interested enough as it is, definitely keep an eye on it. I already am going to be doing a couple different tests on it before I eventually end up going ahead and probably putting up a trailer of the map, which would be something I would definitely be not very great at again, but I will do my best to throw that out there, and hopefully it garners enough interest from people who love doing mechanics and stuff, and people who probably wanted to play TF2 as well, but never really fully got the chance to. The only issue I have with what I'm doing is there's no real reward. It's just you're playing to do it, and that's it. But that's all I'll say. Destiny players will likely already know what I'm talking about. Team Fortress players, you will definitely have to wait and see. Hopefully, it is some good things about it, because, again, anyone who has played any of those sort of adventure maps, it's not like that exactly, but it's going to be a lot more in depth than just running around the map and having to do a bunch of stuff. You're going to be in one specific area instead of having to run around everywhere to do an objective. So, again, Destiny players will know exactly what I'm talking about. Team Fortress players, uh, yeah, you will definitely see when it comes out. But again, thank you for watching, even though I said that 20 times already and still kept going. Uh, yeah, I will see you guys. I will see you guys June 9th.